All right, this is a nice short study guide here for this number 5.4, and this is the study of the chord and arc relationship. So, congruent arcs must have the same measure. Now, real quick, remember that an arc is a curved, starting point, end point. It's the curved outside part of a circle in between 2 points. We have minor arcs, and we have this bigger major arc. Minor arcs are less than 180, major arcs are greater than 180. So congruent arcs must have the same measure. They must be in the same circle or congruent circles. And they must have congruent associated chords. And they must have congruent associated central angles. So when all these things are congruent and have the same measure, then the arcs can be said to be congruent. So going and looking here at this, we're talking about measure of minor arc AB and minor arc BC. And we're asking, why can I say that those two are congruent? Notice what's marked in the picture. You can say that they have congruent associated central angles. So do you see that the measure of angle AOB is equal to 45 degrees, and the measure of angle BOC is also equal to 45 degrees. And so we can technically say that the measure of angle AOB is congruent to the measure of angle BOC. And therefore we can say, if these central angles are congruent, we can therefore say that the minor arcs are congruent. Next, AB congruent to BC. So here I'm going to mark these, AB congruent to BC. Notice that this time they have congruent associated chords. Associated chords. So if you look in the picture, you can see that chord AB is equal to 15. It's labeled there in the diagram, and chord BC is equal to 15, and therefore chord AB is congruent to BC, and so that's why those two minor arcs are congruent. Literally, that's it on the study guide. Let's go do a couple of practice now in the checkup. Let's go ahead and read this first one. It says, if minor arc AB and CD are congruent, what's the measure of angle AOB? So AB, this little guy here, and CD, if those minor arcs are congruent, what's the measure of AOB? So measure of angle AOB is also equal to 25 degrees. You okay with that? Okay, next, if the measure of minor arc AB and CD are congruent, what's the measure of angle COD? And so we can say that since the minor arcs are congruent, that the measure of angle COD is also equal to 101 degrees. Do you guys also see that that's forming a vertical angle there? And we know that vertical angles are congruent. So remember that here's the answer, but there's some work that we're going to be expected to do in Math 3. So we would say the measure of angle AOB is equal to the measure of angle COD. And then we would state that it's equal to 25. And over here, we would say that the measure of angle COD is equal to the measure of angle AOB. And therefore, it's equal to 101. Okay, question 3 and 4. If minor arc AB and CD are congruent, so if AB and CD are congruent, what is the measure of chord AB? So now it's asking for this little guy right here because they already have that chord right there. So we can say that AB equals CD, and so therefore AB is just equal to 4. And the reason this works is because their associated central angle is also equal. If minor arc AB and CD are congruent, so that's this guy right here, AB and CD, then what is the measure of chord AB? So they want this one right here when they've already told you this one. So you're going to say that AB is equal to CD, and therefore AB is equal to 21. And by the way, I forgot the little line segments for the chords over here. And that's it. Check it out. Don't forget to go take your 5-3 and 5-4 quizzes.